Can you tell if I'm running out of hats yet? Yep, Harrison1 back at it once again with a brand new video for you, and welcome to part 4 of our team review series as we look at Lotus-Renault for the 2012 season. Obviously featuring Kimi Raikkonen and Romain Grosjean, two guys with pretty much the definition of polar opposite seasons. One guy was extremely consistent, one guy was not. One guy is a world title contender, the other one definitely was not. One guy was the only guy to finish every single racing lap of 2012. The other one led the league in retirements. Do I need to explain more of this? Probably not. Let's get down to reviewing Lotus-Renault, and first, the Iceman in his comeback season, Kimi Raikkonen. A lot of people seem to question the Iceman going into the 2012-2013 season. How wrong were we? Kimi Raikkonen had an exceptional comeback here. Yeah, it didn't really have an outstanding moment besides his race win in Abu Dhabi, which, to be honest, was handed to him on a gift. But despite this, you have to read between the numbers. He finished 3rd in the World Championship with 209 points, 7 times on the podium. But what makes it even more outstanding is that top 10 finishes, he led the league with 19 out of 20. That's right, only one time the entire season, and that was in China when he finished 14th after his tyres fell off the cliff. Every other race this year, Kimi Raikkonen finished in the points. And that is an incredible run. And you know what? He didn't even have the best car for qualifying either. His average grid slot was I think was 9th place over the season. So he often had to dig and claw for better positions on the track. But to have 7 podiums, the same amount as the McLaren team, and bring home over 200 points was an exceptional achievement for Kimi. And it just goes to show you that his consistency, if he had a slightly better car, he would have challenged for a world title, no doubt about it. Lotus's raw pace tended to be a little bit inconsistent here and there, but Kimi Raikkonen, many argue he had a better season than Alonso did. Now there's one for discussion. Overall though, a tremendous year from the Iceman, and he's more than justified his return to the sport. Kimi Raikkonen, still elite, still rather awesome, and he definitely knows what he's doing. Oh boy, talk about polar opposites. Romain Grosjean's year was sporadic, to say the least, and that's me probably being generous. Didn't have a race win, didn't have a pole position. His best finish, I believe, was, 2nd, and that was at Canada. He had 2 other podiums, 2 third place finishes, but let's be honest, the key stat with him is retirements. He was joint leader of the league in retirements with 8. Yet still finished with 96 points. You can work it out here. I mean, if he only had 10 top 10 finishes, but had 96 points, so you can work out when he was good, he was really good because he was averaging nearly 10 points per race finish, also per point scoring finish. So when he was good, he tended to be in the top 6. When he wasn't good, well, he was pretty terrible. Like I said, 8 retirements, 9 times he had a collision with somebody on the opening lap. That's not good, no matter which way you cut it. And he was suspended for a race. That is horrible. I mean, seriously. It was a blue moon the last time somebody got suspended for a race. That is unacceptable, especially when you're driving at that higher level. And when you consider the raw pace and talent that Romain Grosjean has got, which is in bucket loads, it's huge. He could easily have been a a top 6 in the World Drivers' Championship this year if he didn't throw away so many points from great finishes, from great starts. I mean, Australia started 3rd, retired. Malaysia started 6th, retired. Monaco started 4th, retired. Europe, 4th place, retirement. I mean, the pattern is just there and there. I mean, he would qualify well, but then would have such terrible starts that he would retire. I can't give Grosjean a grade higher than in the top 3, because considering the potential he has and what his ultimate result was, his season was a massive disappointment, and he needs to take a good look at himself and be very thankful Lotus gave him a second chance this year, because the raw talent is there, but the awareness and racecraft clearly isn't. Romain Grosjean, a ticking time bomb. So how about the car? Well, the car was excellent, really. I can't really criticise the car very much. People have to consider where Lotus were at the end of the 2011 season, how they started 2012, and how they were, unlike 2011, they were consistently good the whole way through. Because towards 2011, they seemed to tail off the second half of the year when they had Bruno Senna in the car and things like that. And I must admit, Lotus's issues weren't with the car. They didn't have very many issues to begin with, period. They only had one mechanical breakdown the whole year, and that was Grosjean's alternator in Valencia. I think it was something like that. Again, if I'm wrong, somebody will be bound to correct me in the comments like you always do. But they had tremendous raw pace the whole year, and given their budget, they had a knack of keeping up with the race leaders. They were often going at a similar kind of pace, so they weren't too far behind. They lost out a little bit towards the end of the year, but that's only really because Lotus don't have the budget that a Ferrari, Red Bull and McLaren do. So from a pound-for-pound standpoint, Lotus's car was really good given what they were given, the amount of money they had to spend on the car. Not to mention when you consider that they scored over 300 constructors' points this year, and it could have been 350 to 400 easily if it wasn't for Grosjean's incidents again. He dragged the whole team down this year. He was easily capable of 150 plus points. He ended up with 96, and they scored 303. Mercedes had 375, I think it was. So if Grosjean had finished all like half of the races, he'd retired and he'd be right up there. So really, can you criticise Lotus for anything this year as a team and as a car? Probably not. In my eyes, Lotus took huge steps forward this year, and they've clearly overtaken Mercedes to be, the number 4 team in this sport. And if there was a Harry Award for most improved team, no doubt Lotus-Renault would win it. They did a tremendous job this year, and they deserve high praise. And with a little luck, they'll be even better next year because of their 4th place, they'll have a bigger budget due to, more revenue. So here's hoping they'll be even better next year. Maybe Kimi Raikkonen can realistically challenge for a world title again. And again, let me know what you thought of Lotus in the comments below, and I'll catch you in a couple of days' time for Mercedes, which I'm sure will be very interesting indeed. I've been Harris101. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.